Mm. A wonderful good evening, a heartfelt welcome to everybody here to tonight's discovery session live with Brandon. We actually investigating and checking out how it's possible to overcome fears, to overcome trauma, and find the courage to deal with any situation in life. And I just really want to say a hello to everybody. I've seen welcome messages from the States, from California, from Austria, from France, from Israel, from all places around Europe. So welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone here. My name is Gabby. I've been with Brandon and the Journey for 27 years, and it's been a tremendous privilege to witness healing, really, really deep healing and powerful transformation in so many people all around the world. And so tonight is just a taste of what is possible. And I'm delighted to let you know that Brandon is here personally, in person, live, to take us through this discovery session. And please join me in welcoming Brandon right now. So Brandon, I hope you are here. I can see you. Yes, you are. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And a heartfelt namaste to everyone. And I'm really thrilled about the topic of tonight's discussion, because we're not just going to be diving in and delving into discovering how it is that we can really thrive, even in the face of traumas and fears and life circumstances. But we're going to go inside our own selves to discover what our issues are. And we're going to learn how it's possible to finally overcome our fears and our traumas. So we have a beautiful session to look forward to this evening. And I welcome you with all my heart, just to treat it as a divine experiment and just kind of play along and be willing to explore and see what your own body and your being and your soul is willing to reveal to you. Now, when it comes to trauma and the fears, I mean, goodness knows, it's through the pandemic, and even prior to the pandemic, there have been so many fears that have arisen. And through the pandemic, we've had all the traumas that took place, loss of life. We had the lockdowns happen where none of us had given a manual. How do you deal with being cooped up with people? And also, how do you deal with the isolation of it? And so we often had triggered responses. They've had a flurry of divorces that is the greatest amount of divorces they've ever had, is what they're saying. The divorce lawyers are saying. And of course, there was the loss of health, loss of life, loss of jobs. Then Ukraine war took place, and we had a whole humanitarian crisis. And amidst all of this, there was these catastrophic floods that were happening, biblical proportioned floods in Australia, where many people, thousands, lost their homes, their livelihood, and fires, mega fires in the United States, in Australia, here in Europe. And then recently, the big earthquakes in Turkey. So it's just been one catastrophe after another. And the truth is, none of us were given a manual. How do you deal with this level of trauma and catastrophe and external crisis happening? And how do you face and clear your fears in the face of all of this? And so even if you don't have a childhood where there was a lot of trauma happening, we've all experienced some kind of emotional trauma, if not physical trauma, during these last tumultuous years. And so I felt this was such an important issue to dive into today. And for those of you new to the journey was first born from my own direct experience, from healing from what turned out to be a basketball-sized tumor. And the great gift of that healing journey was I found a means for all of us to undergo our own healing journey, to access this divine and infinite healing potential that exists within all of us, and to be guided by that infinite intelligence, to go on a journey inside your own body, to go to particular cellular locations and to uncover the old cell memories there, the old buried traumas, the old unexpressed issues, and to go through a deep process of release and understanding and ultimately forgiveness, so that when new cells were born, they were born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And one of the most interesting things happened to me during this life-changing and radical spiritual journey that I underwent. In that 6.5 weeks' time, when I was guided spontaneously into the tumor itself, what I uncovered there was old buried trauma. Physical abuse, violent physical abuse, sexual abuse, rape. I had been through a great deal of trauma, and because none of us were taught how to deal with that, I did what all of us do, was I just froze and shut down in the face of that trauma. And what science has found is when you have a strong emotion and you shut it down, it releases a quantifiable biochemistry into the bloodstream, which will go to certain cell receptors and block them, rendering those cells incapable of communicating with the rest of the cells in the body. And if over time illness happens, well, it happens where the cells are blocked. Conversely, what's also known to be true is when we feel our emotions very naturally, openly and freely, like a child does, our cell receptors remain open. And what we know about the cells inside the body, what science has told us, is that the cells inside of our body are replicating all at various speeds. So for instance, if you've ever had a suntan, you'll notice that your tan fades in about 3 weeks' time. That's because old cells slough off and are replaced by new cells. Stomach lining takes 3 days for a new cell lining. The liver, it takes 6 weeks to regenerate the cells in the liver. And the one that just blows my mind are the eye cells. Your inner eyeball, it takes less than 48 hours, less than 2 days for an all new inner eyeball to regenerate. And I had no way to even conceive of such a thing, except my mom had one of those eye operations, the ones where they slit the eye open, they insert a lens, put the flap back, and put a patch on. And only a day and a half later, they took the patch off and she could see clearly. As a matter of fact, there won't be a single molecule in your body a year from now that was here today. And at the time that I had the tumor, which was in 1992, there was a lot of research in the field of cellular healing. And they were discovering that when these strong emotions happened and we repressed them and released that biochemistry into our bloodstream, and it went to specific cellular locations, and it got blocked there. And before that cell died, it passed on that cell memory. It passed on the trauma. It passed on the consciousness, the unspoken words, the pain. It all got buried inside your body and then get passed on to the next cell generation. So the next cell generation is born. It is an exact replica of the previous cell generation. And that's how these traumas carry on. And that's why we get triggered. Say, for instance, you broke your ankle at one point in your life. If you've noticed, you probably sprained it again and sprained it again. And we tend to have the trauma stored, and then we get triggered. And it's because that trauma got buried there. And so we get triggered in that way. Now, during the pandemic, we were all getting triggered. People who had never homeschooled their children were being required to not only purchase computers for the children, whether they could had the money for that or not, but then they had to find a way to be home to look after their children. Meanwhile, they have a full-time job that they're supposed to be doing. And no one gave any one of us the manual of how to deal with that kind of massive stress. And of course, all of us got triggered. And it's not that, our children put our frustration and our upset and the stress in place. That stress, that frustration, that upset was already stored inside of ourselves. And all that our children did, or the situation did, is it pushed our buttons. And up came the trauma, the upset, the pain that was already stored there. I often liken it to, you could be driving in traffic and, you're just inching along in traffic, and then someone comes in front of you and cuts you off. And out of nowhere, up comes this rage. Well, that person didn't come in the middle of the night and stick rage inside of you. That rage was already there. All that they did was push your buttons, and on automatic pilot, up came the rage. And so one of the great gifts I learned in my own healing journey was I found a means for all of us in a very practical, very direct way to go on a journey inside of our bodies and go to these specific cellular locations where these old repressed cell memories are stored, to go through quite a profound and deep process of releasing, to speaking out the words you never said at the time, to allowing the emotions finally to be felt that you weren't able to feel at the time. Most of us freeze in the face of fear or in the face of any strong emotion. And that's when it gets stored inside the body. And not only go through a process of release, but actually understanding what happened to you in that situation. Coming to a full understanding and a full letting go of that whole experience. And then finally going through a deep process of forgiveness, forgiving yourself and life and the other person and the circumstance, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of this old consciousness as new regenerative cells. As a matter of fact, when I went to go see the specialist when I had the tumor, she said this, this probably started as one cell, like when you were 8 years old, and then it replicated. And towards the end, in the last 3 months before I got in to see the specialist, they were replicating exponentially and aggressively. And then I got diagnosed with this basketball-sized tumor. And so these traumatic situations are really an invitation for all of us to go on our own journeys inside of ourselves. Now, if I had to give a description in a metaphor, what is the journey in a nutshell? The best way I can describe it is to say that all of us come into this world as this radiant, shining awareness, as a vast field of peace, of oneness, where we feel ourselves to be part of all of existence, all of life, a field of love that, when mother's hand, science has found this, comes before an infant's eyes, the infant actually experiences mother's hand as being part of itself. That's how vast this enlightened awareness is that you came in as. But unfortunately, through the course of life's pains and trials, this radiant awareness where you feel part of everything, connected to everything, gets covered over. And it gets covered over with a series of limitations and traumas and lies and shutdowns, negative beliefs. And by the time we are adults, we cover this whole mess over with this polished veneer, with this mask, that we present to the world, where we're saying to the world, no, it's fine. I've got it handled. I'm reliable. I'm dependable. I'm responsible. And then we wonder why it is. Everyone thinks we're so full of, you can finish that sentence. So we all come in as this radiant presence, completely whole and free. And then this series of shutdown happen. And it can be something so simple, like you're 3 years old and you're crying about something. And your mother says, come, we've got to dry our tears. We've got to get you off to nursery school. And the first involuntary, automatic shutdown happens. Or it could be the kind of thing that I can remember. I came from a very violent and brutal background. And the way I used to escape was into my children's books. And so I used to love to read. I still do. And I became a good speller as a result. And when I was 8 years old, I got chosen to represent our elementary school for the third graders in this stupid contest called the Spelling Bee that we have in the United States. And we'd gathered all the schools from our entire county into the stadium. And all the teachers were there, all the students were there, and all the parents were there. And it was this big contest. And I was standing there representing our school for the third graders. And I was on stage and I'd already spelled 3 difficult words. And then they gave me one of the easiest words in the English language, the word fleet. But I'd never seen that word in any of my children's books. But I had seen the word flea, an insect. And I said, F-L-E-A-T. And the whole stadium was hushed. And all at once, it erupted into laughter. And no one had given me a manual how to deal with mass humiliation, with all your friends, all your fellow students, the parents, teachers, everyone laughing at you. And so I looked to my mother, who was sitting in the third row, for her support. And she looked at me as if I was the greatest disappointment in her life. And she just shook her head. And she went, and she went like this. And internally, it was as if a wall just came slamming down inside of me. And I found myself retreating to the back of the stage to sit with all the other losers. And that day I decided, I'm so stupid. I'm so worthless. I'll never be good at anything I do. People will only ever laugh at me. I'll never achieve anything. And it's like this, layer upon layer of shutdowns. I can remember when I was 16, I got a crush on a guy and I tried to impress him. And you know how that is. I made a total fool of myself. And I watched the first love of my life literally running, and I was running after him. And that day I decided, I'm so unattractive. I'm so unlovable. No one I'm attracted to will ever be attracted to me. And it's like this. It's layer upon layer upon layer of shutdowns, pain. And then when we get to be adults, we cover it all over with this polished veneer that we present to the world, this mask. And then life gives us a wake-up call. And these wake-up calls can come in so many different forms. They can come in the form of a loss of a loved one through COVID. Or I was reading, as you were sending in, some of the traumas you've been experiencing. One woman just lost her husband, where she'd been with him for 45 years. Or it can be a serious illness. Another woman had 3 different kinds of cancers that she just got diagnosed with a dire diagnosis. Or it can come in the form of a loss of a job or a divorce. One woman was sharing how when she was just getting ready the day before her 11th birthday, her mother committed her suicide, took her own life. Her father abused her and her sisters. And then when she had her forms, and what we shut down, and when we start shutting down one part of our life or our emotions, we start shutting down altogether. Some people wrote in, they can't seem to accomplish anything. They have all these dreams they want to manifest, and they can't get past. One woman wrote she has a wall that she just can't get past. And so what the journey allows you to do is it gives you the permission to finally crack through this phony, false mask you've been presenting to the world. And spontaneously, you open down through the layers of the lies, the pain, the shutdowns, the blocks, the walls, and spontaneously, you end up opening into your own soul, into that infinite intelligence, into that part of you that makes your heart beat and your eyes shine and your hair grow, into this vast field of awareness that you came in as. And you recognize it's been there all along. Only like me, you bought into all the layers that covered it. And then if you get to be very lucky, as I have been more lucky than I can thank life, the universe for, you fall in love with yourself, with the truth inside. And like me, you're willing to do whatever it takes to clear those blocks, those shutdowns, those old traumas, that old pain. So this radiant presence that is your own essence can live your life. So if I had to say, what is the journey in a nutshell? I'd have to say it's about getting real. It's about going down through the layers of the lies and shutdowns, opening into the peace inside, and then going on that journey, guided by your own soul to the cellular locations, to get to the emotional corollary of what's co-creating your current situation, and to finally release, let go, forgive, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness. Now, I would love to take you into the whole of the in-depth journey experience. And in fact, that takes place at a 3-day immersion where you're going through the journey intensive. And so that is a really in-depth roll up your sleeves experiential retreat. But I can't take you through that right now. But I would like to take you on a discovery process where we can begin to uncover some of the issues that are stored inside of our bodies. So we can begin this journey of befriending our bodies, listening to our bodies, beginning to let our bodies reveal to us what's really inside there. And then from there, listening to the self, if there's a longing to free yourself from these deeply buried old emotional issues. Most of us, we have spent our life avoiding feeling those emotions that are uncomfortable. And a strong emotion come up, smoke it away. Strong emotion comes up, drink it away. Strong emotion comes up, let's get on Netflix. Let's call a friend. Let's go to the movies. Let's search the web. Anything but actually feel that strong emotion. And yet, those emotions that you avoid are not only the gateway to your soul, but they are the doorway to healing. As a matter of fact, there is a hospital there are 3 hospitals actually in Israel, where once let's say you have a heart operation, once you've undergone your surgery, you then can go into a week-long recovery center where they use the journey to get to the emotional root cause of what co-created that heart disease in the first place. So it doesn't need to show up again. Same thing with the oncology unit in another hospital where they have a recovery center, which once you've undergone the treatment, then you go for a week into the recovery center where you can get to the emotional corollary of what was co-creating the illness in the first place. Same thing for multiple sclerosis. And again, they're getting to the cell memories, to those buried traumas that we weren't able to face at the time because we didn't have the tools. And so learning to befriend your body, learning to really welcome these issues to be exposed, to be revealed to you, is the beginning of your emotional journey, your healing journey, and your life journey. So I thought it'd be a wonderful opportunity just to treat this as a divine experiment. And if you'd like to join me, let's just do a little guided introspection here. And so let's take a nice deep breath in together, letting it out, closing your eyes. And another nice deep breath in and blowing openness consciousness into your room. And the willingness just to listen to yourself, breathing willingness into the room. And trust. Trust in yourself that your soul actually wants you to heal. Your soul wants you to come home to the peace inside, the love that is your essence. So this trust in yourself, breathing that into the room. And then taking a deep breath in and blowing all the stress out of the room. And now letting your heart be as wide as the world. Wide enough to welcome everything that lives inside of you. That's how vast this vast open sky of all acceptance is. And it's vast and spacious and free and endless in front of you. Your awareness is spacious and vast and free behind. It's endlessly spacious and vast and free to all sides. And we're just resting now, soaking, steeping in a vast, open sky of all acceptance, of all love. And now let's turn our gaze inside of our bodies. You know, our bodies, they're like containers full of all kinds of emotions. And you know, our emotions, they're like little kids. Some of our emotions, they're loud and attention-seeking, always trying to get our attention. Others of our feelings, we've rejected them, or pushed them away, or denied them, or suppressed them. And they're actually scared to come up anymore. And some of your feelings, you've rejected them so many times, they hide. beneath lids or behind closed doors. And so putting out a heartfelt welcome to all the feelings that live inside of you, knowing your own body will never give you something you're not ready to face. If it comes up, then there's a readiness here. And you might even apologize for having pushed your emotions away and say to your body, for once, I'm going to listen. I'm going to be present. I'm going to hear what the body's trying to say and open with the feelings that are being revealed. And then locate right now some part of your body where you may feel a little tension is, or stress, or holding, or hiding, or contraction going on. Locate that part of the body. And take a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance, letting it soften and be tenderized and opened up. And if there were a feeling starting to rise out of that area, I wonder what that feeling might be. Might be as quiet as a whisper. But if there were an emotion starting to rise out of that area, I wonder what it might be. Or if you could give your body a voice and let it speak and have words, what might this part of your body say to you right now? If it could speak and had words, what might it say? And just whisper those words out into your room right now. Perhaps sounds are there. Give it a voice. And as you listen to those words, ask yourself, how do those words make me feel emotionally? Just welcoming whatever's here and also whatever's not here. And taking a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance. And now coming to neutral inside of yourself and finding a different area where there may be a little tension or stress or contraction. Something about it is drawing your attention to it. There may even be a little pain there, or a little twitch, where there's some area where there's some sort of contraction going on. Find that area now. And take another deep breath in of acceptance. And flooding that area with acceptance, letting it soften that area and open that area, tenderize that area, really open the whole area. And if there were a feeling starting to arise out of that area, what might the feeling be? It might be very subtle. So just stay open. If there were a feeling arising now, what might it be? Or if this area could speak and had words, what would it say? Give it a voice right now and whisper those words out loud into the room. If it could speak and had words, what would this part of the body say? And as you listen to the words, how does it make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps some sort of picture showing up. If there is, step into the picture. How are you feeling in that picture? Or perhaps it feels like there's a lid over this area, as if there's some sort of block or shutdown. Imagining that there is a lid right there now. And as you would open a can of peanuts and peel it off, take hold of that lid and lift it off now. What's hiding there? As you open with that, how does it make you feel emotionally? Just welcoming whatever's here and whatever's not here. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance, coming to neutral and finding yet a third area of your body where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding or contraction going on. Locate that area right now. Take a deep breath in of acceptance. Flooding that area with acceptance. Letting it be marinated and tenderized and opened up. And if there were a feeling beginning to rise out of that area right now, I wonder what that feeling might be. Just opening it might be as quiet as a whisper. Or if this area could speak and had words, what would it say right now? How do the words make you feel emotionally? Or if there's a lid there covering this area, some sort of block or some sort of lid over this area. Imagining there is one, take hold of the lid and lift it off. What's hiding here? And as you open with that, how does it make you feel emotionally? Just welcoming whatever's here and also whatever's not here. And taking a deep breath in of acceptance. And flooding that area of acceptance with acceptance. And coming to neutral. And if it feels appropriate, you might say to your body, for the rest of today, I'm going to be present to you. I'm going to begin this journey of listening to my body, opening with what's really here, really curious what it is my body has to share with me. I'm going to allow emotions, embrace them, open with them, and I am willing to feel. And taking a nice deep breath in and flooding your whole body with acceptance. And once again, the heart is as wide as the world. A vast open sky of all acceptance that's spacious, free, and endless in front of you, boundlessly spacious behind. Free and endless to all sides of you. Heavens below and sky like above. Just resting in this, as this. Another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And you can open your eyes now into this awareness, so that eyes open or eyes closed, same. And another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And I'm sure that you began to just subtly do this toe dip, where you're beginning to take these baby steps towards opening with your own body and your being and what it is your body's ready to face. And the good news about the body is it will never give you something you're not ready to face yet. But if it does come up, it means it's an invitation, not from me, but from your soul is saying, it's time to come home. It's time to clear these old issues, these old buried dinosaurs that live inside of us. It's time to experience freedom. It's time to heal our lives. And, how is it that you thrive? I know for myself, after I healed from that massive tumor, and that was 30 years ago, I began to work with people and I saw what worked and what didn't work. And the work has developed and expanded and grown and become more user-friendly, and it's being used in hospitals and by medical doctors and psychiatries, by ministries of governments, and of course, people from all walks of life, to clear whatever blocks them, whatever shuts them down, whatever has on any level limited them, so that this radiant potential, this vast field of enlightened awareness that you came in as, is able to live your life. And so how is it you thrive in any situation? You clear whatever blocks and traumas, patterns of fear, old beliefs, negative beliefs, and then this radiant presence that you came in as, it begins to respond in life. We can't change the life circumstances necessarily. We can't change the fact that lockdowns happen, that a pandemic happened, that Ukraine war is going on right now, that all these earthquakes and floods and fires and divorces and loss of life and all that has happened, all the catastrophes, circumstances may remain the same, but how you respond healthily to them, that is what's possible for you to experience. And that comes when you're willing to go down through the layers and open into your own divine potential. And so this liberating, life-changing work can help you to take the lampshade off your life, One woman was writing in that she really has a prayer to manifest this vision in her life, but something's holding her back. Why? Because she has these blocks stored inside. And when you go on that journey inside your body and clear those blocks, then this creative potential that is already here inside of you can begin to express itself. You can begin to live your full potential. And that's what my prayer is for everybody, that we awaken to this beauty inside, to the love that is here, to the peace that is available, to this peace that underlies all of life. So my prayer is that you'll fall in love with the truth inside of you. And that, like me, you will be willing to clear whatever blocks you, whatever shuts you down, whatever traumas have been here, so that this divine potential that you came in as can live your life. And there's a wonderful thing that is going on now so that you can really dive in. We are having journey intensives, which, as I spoke about earlier, are 3-day online immersions where you get a chance to really, and with the support of journey practitioners, go through an in-depth roll up your sleeves immersion in this work, where not only will you be getting the teachings from me, the guided introspections from me, and learn all about the process work, but in the afternoons on day 1, 2, and 3, you'll have the opportunity to go into a breakout room and work with another participant and literally go through the emotional journey, the physical journey, and all the advanced skills, and experience the work, both offering a process and receiving one. And you have the support of trainers who are practitioners who've been through the whole year-long practitioner program with me. And if you've got any question, anything coming up for you, you can raise your hand and they'll come into your private room and support you through your process work. So there's a huge embrace of support. And my prayer is that you not just have this amazing experience, this life-changing clear out where you feel washed clean. My prayer is that you take the tools that you learn that have become part of you and you give them away. Give them to your children, to your parents, grandparents, to your friends, and you assist and help your friends, your loved ones, your family, to take the lampshade off their lights so everyone can experience their own true potential that they came in as. And so the journey really is a journey. Until the COVID happened, I was teaching 44 out of the 52 weeks in a year, traveling to the 39 countries that we offer the journey seminars in. And every week before I stepped on stage, I would have a journey process because I would say, I never want to be so arrogant to say I've got it all handled. I'll be a student of life till the day I die. And I love this truth that has been revealed in me. And I'm willing to do anything to clear whatever blocks it, shuts it down, so that this peace that is here can underlie and be this that lives my life. And so that's what I pray for all of you. And so if your heart is feeling a longing to come home to the joy, the peace, someone wrote, the peace that passeth understanding today, and what she wrote about what she wanted to experience. If you're longing to really open up into your true creative potential and really realize that and live that, then it might be time to roll up your sleeves and come home. And so what's been amazing is because recently, with all the pandemic going on and people around the world experiencing so much trauma, the Journey team at the Journey offices have reduced the price. It's 70% off, so that people who could never have afforded to experience this work could experience it. And so I would love to invite Gabby to come back on, and she can share with you how you can get to the Journey Intensive on your time zone. And also, just to let you know, thejourney.com, you can download an abbreviated version of the first book. You can find other videos there. But if you sincerely long for freedom, to come home to the peace and the joy within, then I heartily recommend you take advantage of this incredible offering that the team is making. And so I look forward to seeing you at the upcoming events, and a heartfelt namaste to everyone. And I pray you listen to the call of the soul to come home. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. That's what a beautiful session. What a beautiful unlayering, uncovering, discovering what may have held us back, what kept us small, what kept us limited, or what kept old fears, traumas still stored inside of ourselves. And yes, I myself am proof, and I have witnessed thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years free themselves from any kind of issues, blocks, and traumas. And it is possible. It is possible. And the first step just needs to be made. And it has never been easier. Since we've gone online, since we've been able to offer this seminar online, first of all, it's possible to do it at a price level that is affordable. And as Brandon already said, it's 147 euros or dollars. In those currencies, or 247 Aussie dollars for our beloveds down under. And it is a 3-day immersion. And we do have a page where you can find out all the information of when exactly these events take place. They constantly happen on all time zones in many languages. For example, this coming weekend, we have an event in Estonian language. So Brandon's teaching is translated, and one of our presenters from Estonia is holding the embrace. The trainers are there. And then the weekend after, we have Finland. Then in April, we have the English European time zone. We have South Africa. We have North America. We have Australia. We have Hungarian journey intensives. We have Czech intensives, Hebrew translation intensives. So any language, and you find all the information that you're looking for on our link that my colleague has just posted here. And if there is something that you are not sure about, if you still feel that you want to run something by one of our team, you can actually book a clarity call. You can actually speak to one of our team and find out if this work is for you. And I have never or rarely met anyone who this work isn't for. So, but if there is a way that you want to check in with someone, please, you can book a clarity call. And even the link for that is on our information page. So once I finish here, then Ollie will post the full page here. And then you can also click the link on the side in the chat box and find out more. Let us know how we can support you. Our highest vision, our prayer for the journey work from Brandon, from all of us, is that every household somehow has access to this work. And we feel that the way it's being offered now, it is actually possible without Brandon having to fly around the globe and offer seminar. You know, we can actually do it in the comfort of our home, and it provides an additional simplicity. And not only that, but a comfort and a safety where we feel kind of okay in our own four walls. And what's even more so, we've been doing this for over three and a half years now to offer these events online. And it works. It absolutely works. Nothing gets lost. There is no something that, in fact, my personal opinion is that it's actually stronger this way, because you have a front row seat, whether you like it or not, you know? And not only that, but you have this beautiful support from our journey practitioners. So what have you got to lose? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just come and try it out and join the Next Journey Intensive that comes up either in your language or your time zone. And we can't wait to see you there. So thank you very much for everyone here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Brandon, for being with us tonight in person. And thank you to our team who kind of created an embrace here and the translators as well. And I hope we see you soon. Thank you very much with all my heart. And good evening. God bless. See you. Thank you. Namaste.